What's up, y'all? It's the Black Friday show. It's your man BJ Joyce. We are going to get this going again, seeing as how Facebook or whatever was going on decided that they didn't want to hear me. So let's go ahead and get this set up for Facebook, for YouTube, and we'll make sure that everybody's aware of it. Let me get this into the Cara Black owned and operated Facebook group so that 32,000 people can participate in this conversation if they decide to tune in. Go ahead and like, share, comment. I wanted to get your thoughts and opinions and all that fun stuff about what we got going on today. So, we're going to talk about hope for Black folks. There is hope. There is hope. It's very far in the distance, but there is hope. The challenges are tough. Okay. Hopefully, you can hear me now out there in Facebook land. The challenges are tough. Okay. I'll say the things that we're up against are not easy. We continue to harm ourselves. We continue to oh wait, that might work. I wonder if I can highlight things. Nah, I can just followers that thing. We'll do the followers. But we have a lot of challenges. What are those challenges? Well, big thing is we don't have a culture. Yay! Can you hear me now? Good. First thing is we don't have a culture as Black people. We don't. We think we do, and when I say these things, I'm talking general and collectively, right? We think we have a culture for Black people, but I would challenge you and say, what is that culture, right? What is that? Because when our ancestors were free off of the plantation in 1865, okay, we finally became free citizens of America. What was our worldview? What was our economic philosophy and ideology? What was our religion? What kind of like beliefs do we have from a current and afterlife kind of standpoint? What were our names? What are our names? Hmm? Like our family names. What was our family structure? Do we have a family structure? All these different things we never had, and we never were brought together to collectively build that either. Because why would we? I mean, why would the people who just lost their free labor force want to do anything positive for us, right? So they weren't going to get us together, and so therefore we're just kind of dispersed all throughout the country. No connection. There was no Facebook or any kind of social media back then for us to connect up. No phones, no internet, no none of that stuff. So we didn't know, like, people in Arkansas didn't know what people in Pennsylvania were doing versus, Georgia versus California. It had no clue, didn't know what was going on, right? And communication was very slow. You're talking about Pony Express, the what is the thing? The Morse code thing, the telegraph network. The mail was slow. Like, come on, like we weren't in communication. We weren't really able to come together and to build any of that stuff once 1865 hit and our ancestors got free. So there's a struggle, there's a challenge, right? But now we don't have that excuse. We can do these things. We can communicate, we can organize, we can get together, and we can communicate coast to coast and all over the world. So that's one challenge that we have to overcome is lack of culture. We don't have one. We need to come together, start having the hard conversations, and figure out the big things. Obviously, there's going to be little things that certain groups of our ethnic group, right, aren't going to agree on. There's going to be the religion aspect. We're not going to agree on that. But is there things that we can agree on from how are we going to base our family? And I'm not talking about the little things, because those are like, there's going to be these little small pockets that say, well, we believe that family doesn't exist, that's just a social construct and blah, blah, blah. Like, listen, I want to hear that crap first and foremost. All right, like I would debate that. As, you could believe that, but us as Black people, we need to look at Black first. Okay, us first and foremost as Black people, and then we need to be like, all right, well, how are we going to agree on the majority saying we believe this as a family structure, we believe this as an economic system, we believe this as a worldview, right? And then yes, there will be like certain little things. I mean, like all the Asians don't all agree on like those little tiny things, but they agree that they're Asian first. And I'm not talking about, hey, we got to be out here against anybody else. Because every time we say, when Black people say we want something for Black people, everybody else gets scared. Even Black people get scared. And that's a psychological problem that we have to overcome. We have to overcome a lot of psychological problems. And I get it. There's 400 some years, so on and so forth. But we also understand that that exists. And we as thinking, intelligent human beings have to say, I understand this, and this is not good. So therefore, I need to go over here to where the good is. And we need to do the good things and stop doing the bad things, right? Because I understand that this is what they're trying to do. And we've been doing this for so long, but this is bad. So let's move away from that and go over here and do the good stuff. You have to be intentional about that. We can't just sit here and just say, oh, because then we're never going to move. We're never going to go forward. So we have to change the bad psychological things, recognize them. Yes, crabs in a bucket mentality exists. We understand that. Crabs in a bucket mentality exists. So stop it. Be the change that you want to see in the Black community. Say, look, I know that I don't trust Black businesses. So I'm going to go and trust Black businesses. I'm going to intentionally start trusting Black businesses. I'm going to start doing business with them. I'm going to talk with them and tell them, I'm doing business with you because you're like me. And I want you to do a great job. And I want to pay you for doing a great job. And I want to refer other Black people to you to continue to do a great job. And we want to help you to stay in business, to grow as a business, to hire family and friends of ours who are going to need work because other businesses aren't hiring them. And we want to keep the money in the community and tell them and keep going back to them for that and reinforcing and continue to have that conversation. And yes, it is incumbent upon you as an individual to do this in your individual life because we can't collectively do it right now because we don't have a culture. If we had a culture, we could then start being collective. So those are 3 challenges, right? We don't have a culture, we have psychological problems, and we can't organize because we don't have a culture, we don't have psychological, and we have these psychological problems. So there's 3 hurdles, but we can overcome them. And it starts with you. You as the individual. Starts with you. You have to make that decision. And then when you make that decision, you can talk to other people to help them make that decision and say, hey, look, we should do this. We should do this together, right? Instead of boycotting. I know you guys have feelings about like, let's boycott these people that don't like us. Just go build the business that they're not dealing with. Like, why are you so dependent? We are so dependent on the oppressor's system. Go build our own. Like, you don't like Target, you don't like this company, you don't like that company. Shouldn't be shopping there anyway. We should go build the Black-owned business and go shop there. Ding, ding, ding. What a concept, right? Why won't we? Why don't we? Because we don't trust Black people. We talked about that, right? So we have these hurdles that we have to overcome. One of them is when we do have businesses is not going to them as well, right? We have plenty of Black businesses out here, but you didn't want to go to them until Target said, hey, we don't have this, or we don't want to do this DEI, outwardly express support of DEI. Do you know how many other companies are out there outwardly not supporting DEI, but yet you're focusing on Target? I'll say this. 99% of the businesses that you engage with on a day-to-day basis don't care about DEI. What a concept, huh? Is that a revelation to you? Then they're outwardly, you just haven't been told about it in the news, because news isn't going to cover every single business. But you haven't been told about it in the news. But they also don't have a DEI policy. That liquor store you go to doesn't have a DEI policy. That gas station, no DEI policy. The grocery store, no DEI policy. Starbucks, where you go get your coffee, they have that anyway, right? They don't have these things. They didn't have them to begin with. They don't have them now, right? And even if they did have them, they have gotten rid of them. A lot of them, most of them. The policy, the outward expression of the policy. So if that's the case, and you don't like it, then let's go build our own Black businesses and support them and put the money into the people who look like us, who would hire us, and continue to grow and develop in them. Think about this. You're going to send your kid to a college that prepares them to go work for that company that doesn't have that DEI policy and probably openly expresses they don't. Up until 2020, nobody had this crap anyway. Till Biden came along and he decided like, oh, hey, we should do this DEI thing, blah, blah, blah. That stuff didn't exist anyway. So don't act like it's new. Come on. Like, what are we doing here, right? All that to say, what are we going to do to change it? What are you going to do to change? That's the hope. That's where the hope comes from. It's from you. Can't expect somebody to come down and, rah everybody. There's no Malcolm X. There's no MLK. There's no Marcus Garvey. There's no Huey P. Newton. There's no name that civil rights, quote unquote, person. There's no Frederick Douglass, right? There's no Harriet Tubman. You know who's all those people? Who's Harriet? Who's Frederick? Who's Marcus Garvey? Who's Huey P. Newton? Stokely Carmichael and the boys, right? You know who's Angela Davis? You. Be that. Be them in your life. Be them in your life. Encourage others around you in your circle to be them in their lives as well. But because we don't have these things, we could start talking about them. We could engage with them at conferences like the Black Boss Summit of BBI when they do that, the Black Economic Success Trust Summit here in Denver when they do that. Juneteenth Music Festival is really a music festival, but there might be a way to do something in collaboration with that, to have a, hey, listen up, public service announcement. When are we going to start doing these things, right? Any of these event venues or opportunities, these galas that people like to throw, be a great opportunity for us to not just talk, but work through, to strategize, to build. We got BJ Joyce. Yeah, if y'all would listen to me, that'd be great. If y'all would listen to me, I sure would. I'd be like, hey, look, this is what I'm telling you. Let's do this, right? Show up to the Black Economic Success Trust Summit. Let's have conversations, but not just conversations. Let's workshop these things. And how are we going to build? That's what I want y'all to do. How are we going to build? Where's the Black grocery store here in Colorado? There is none. There's one in Houston, fourth largest city in America. Got a lot more Black people than we do. One. And it just opened only a couple years ago. One. Think about that, right? We need to build these things. People have to go and support. Let's do it. Why aren't we doing it? Why aren't you doing it? Ask yourself that. Why aren't you as an individual doing it? And you say, oh, I'm doing my part. I'm boycotting Target. Okay, great. Keep that. Don't ever go back. How about that? You want options? There's Black businesses around in Colorado. And if you are like, hey, they don't have this particular thing, there's a place called Naspora. It used to be called We Buy Black. It's in Atlanta. It is the Black Amazon, essentially. Okay. They have Black businesses tied in there from all across the country, and they ship just like Amazon. And you can go on there and find different categories and all this stuff just like Amazon. It's called Naspora, Naspora. blackon.com. Go there. Used to be called We Buy Black. They're headquartered in Atlanta. They have a distribution facility and all this stuff, kind of similar to like an Amazon warehouse down there. And they take products in and people are selling them on their website. And then they're shipping them out to you at home. There's a place for you to start. Black-owned car company, I just found them. They're in Atlanta. Yeah, it's $75,000 for that. But guess what? Are you really serious? You serious about this life? Are you about this life? You about that action? Because if we're about it, then we need to be about it. We can't just talk. We have to be intentional and actionable. Right? Like, what is talk going to do? That's your protest. Oh, we're just talking out here in the street. That doesn't do nothing. You have to go out and actually do stuff. Put in the work. Sacrifice your convenience and your comfort for the greater good of not only you, but the collective ethnic group. Yeah, you're going to have to give up your sports watching. You're going to have to give up your kids' football game, every single game in practice. And you might have to go and meet with a couple of other Black people and have these conversations about what action steps are we taking this week, this month, this year, right? What are we intentionally doing? When I'm looking to go eat out, am I going to the Juicy Seafood, which is not a Black restaurant, or am I going to find the Black-owned restaurants? All of them. And then encouraging people who run those restaurants or other chefs to be like, hey, listen, we need this type of restaurant. We would love to see this kind of restaurant. Can you build that? And we will come. If you build it, we will come, and then we will support that. There's one Black-owned fine dining restaurant in the entire state of Colorado. One Black-owned fine dining. I repeat, fine dining. That's La French. And they're not even Black Americans. They're from Senegal. The sisters, they're from Senegal. So we're gonna claim it, but I am gonna make it just a clear distinction. There's the African diaspora, which we are included in, but there is a difference between someone who is born in Africa or is directly a descendant, like their family is from Africa, and then they might have been born here, right? But they know where their tribe is. They know where their country is. They know all that stuff, right? They have that. They have their value system. They have their culture versus the Black Americans who are descended from slaves who were mixed up from a bunch of different tribes and all that stuff throughout 400 plus years, right? There is a clear difference, but we are going to embrace the collective diaspora and work towards that. There's hope in that. We should be vacationing in the Caribbean and in Africa and not going over to Europe. Why do you want to go see Rome? Why do you want to see Paris and not Accra or St. Lucia? Like 95% of the Caribbean is Black. Go put your money there. Build businesses, call centers, distribution systems there in the Caribbean. Because I'd rather go to like a nice warm climate than go see Paris. I'd like to go hang out at Carnival, right? Be shaking, hey, getting that good food, then going to Portugal. And nothing really wrong about those countries, but that's not where we're not from the European diaspora. You see what I'm saying? You're going and put money back into, again, the heritage centers of white Americans, not the heritage centers of Black Americans. So we need to work on that, right? Let's go over to Senegal. Let's go to Nigeria. Let's go to Cote d'Ivoire. Let's go to Togo and Benin. Like, let's go to Mali, right? Let's go to Ghana. Right? Let's go there. Why would we go to Europe? It doesn't make sense. We need to stop that. That's a white supremacist viewpoint that too many, and go back to our psychological problems, too many of us have. Even black folks uphold white supremacy. We do. We do. We do it a lot. I can give you numerous examples. I'm not going to right now, but I can give you numerous examples of how black folks uphold white supremacy. We do it. That goes back to our psychological problem. There's been a number, but because we know this, again, you have to understand, we know this. So therefore, we have to take intentional steps to counter that. As soon as you think like, oh man, I ain't about to go do business with black people, they always late. That's where, right when you think that, that means you need to call somebody black, or you need to go do something with like that black business, because that's the white supremacy thing in there. They always late. This is that and the other. Nope. Call them up. Do business. I don't care if they're late. Put money in their pocket and tell them, listen, bro, you were late. But here's why I didn't want. I immediately thought, I can't do business with black people because they're going to be late. And I want you to succeed, and I want to help support you, right? You can't be late. My expectation is that you're not just competing with other black businesses just for, overall business, but you're competing against the current professionalism expectation of our society. You got to be on time. So I want to, when I refer you out, because I'm going to refer you out, brother. When I refer you out, I need you to show up on time for the people, especially like that's one thing us as black people, we have to do for black people above and beyond anybody else. And yes, because we're black, just like your family, you would do above and beyond for your family. So go and do above and beyond for black people. Now you still hold yourself, your professional standard here, right? Here's your professional standard for everybody. But when it comes to black people, you need to be up here. And not because they're black, but because they're black. Because you want to take care of your people more. And then likewise from the consumer side, you should want to take care of your black business more. So it's like, man, I'm going to give, if I go out and I'm going to hit up the business or whatever, and get whatever tip is going to be 15%, right? Everybody get 15%. But I do business with a black business, 20%. They're going to get 20% tip. Why? Because they're black. Because I want them to succeed. I want them to do better. I want to help them. One of the things we need to look at from the black experience is that when you get in position at your job or within your business or within society or whatever, you need to be looking at other black people as like, listen, I need more of y'all up here with me. And you need to start helping them and coaching them and providing them the game. So if you're in position to like help them like with a job, don't just say, hey, yeah, just go ahead and apply, homie. No, like, hey, you got to apply, but here's how you need to apply. Here's the things that they're going to look for from your resume. Here's what they're going to look for in the cover letter. Here's what they're going to look for in the interview. We need to have those conversations. We need to start helping each other do those things. Like here's who else you need to talk to. Maybe reach out to so-and-so over here and connect with them on LinkedIn and tell them, hey, I'm interested. Here's the things that you need to say to them, so on and so forth. So that you can set them up for the best success of getting that job to come up in there with you. And then when they're up in there with you, hey, here's the things that we're doing, right? Here's what we're looking at. Here's the, set them up for success once they're in there. And then if you, in an elevated position, director, vice president, whatever, manager, I don't care, any type of leadership position, people manager, right? Anytime where you have people up under you that you are managing, whether it's frontline manager all the way up to an executive officer, how do I get more black people into that position? Start looking, start coaching, start telling them, hey, look, BJ, I see you over here. This is that and the other. I would love for you to get into management. Here's the things that you need to be looking at to get there. If that's something that you want to do, because not management is not for everybody. People leading is not for everybody, right? But like, hey, I see these skills in you. If you're looking for it, I would love for you to get in here. And if not you, we definitely need to get somebody else. If there's somebody else that you think would be great for, who's black for this, like, I'll introduce me to them. I want to talk with them. But here's the things that we need to do to help you get there, because not only will you, start to get up there, but you get more money, hopefully, so on and so forth, so on and so forth, right? We need more people controlling those resources. Then when you have control of the company's resources, especially if they're not a black owned business, if they're a white owned business, right? These white organizations, how do we take those resources that they're giving us to use for the betterment of the company, to better the company, but do that through other black folks, right? Through vendors, through sponsorship stuff and all those things. How do we funnel that money and get those into, black businesses and black sponsorship of organizations and helping black people, right? That also in turn benefits the company, right? Because you still have a responsibility in your job. You have to manage those resources to make sure that the company's still doing great. But here's the thing. If a white person's in that role, they're going to go with who they're comfortable with. This has nothing to do with white, black, whatever. It just has to do with who you know and who you're connected to. Like, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And buy could be a variety of different, ideologies of how you want to say buy, right? It could be direct buy, or, you work with, you do things with, whatever. Buy. People do things with people they know, they like, and they trust. So if there's a white person in that position who has resources, they're going to use those resources in areas with people they know, like, and trust. Well, who are the people they know, like, and trust? They're usually other white people, because that's who they know. We need to do that as black people when we get in those positions. Instead of being like, oh, okay, we're just going to go with the same white people, the things that white people would do. No, you don't know them people. You need to come over here and you need to allocate those resources that also help the business with people you know, like, and trust. Should be those black folks and those vendors and those nonprofits that you can funnel resources into to help support us. We need to have those conversations. And how do we do that? That's strategy, right? Strategy and tactics of how black people can start really helping each other in these spaces. So there's hope, but you have to do it. You have to think about that. I'm doing my part. I'm working on these boards, Denver Black Reparations Council, Black Economic Success Trust, regional leader here in Denver for Black Executive Man Capital Network, which is that venture capital and private equity space, right? I'm a venture capitalist for a venture fund that specifically is targeting black businesses to invest in. And these are venture capital type businesses. So not your lifestyle businesses, not your liquor store, your accounting firm, that kind of thing. I'm talking stuff that's going to return, high stuff. We talk about that later. But getting into those spaces, right? So I'm doing this, trying to gather more people collectively, trying to get the word out to more people so that they individually take action, so that they start coming to these things, start plugging in from not only yourself, but you and your circle. You start having those conversations, bring your circle into this fold. We have these conversations together and start putting into place actionable steps for us to take. We can't talk anymore. Talk is cheap. Talk ain't doing nothing. We've been talking since, the civil rights era. We're not doing well. Just saying, we're not doing well. We need to do stuff. You can talk about going to the gym all you want to, and you can talk about losing weight, but until you actually start eating healthy and start going to the gym and working out, you're not going to lose weight. So we need to put those action items into place. So there's hope. Let's just do it. Keep hope alive, right? Keep hope alive. All right, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. I done chatted up with y'all a little bit. I'm going to bring up, hopefully, talk about catering next week and the differences of why like, a lot of people don't understand catering. And so I saw that in a post here. And so I want to talk about that, see if we can get a caterer on and talk about catering. And then overall, like, supporting Black-owned catering companies. So we might talk about that. We might talk about Black barbecue. I don't know yet. We'll see what next Friday holds. There's a lot of time between now and then. So anyway, like and share out the video, comment. It's the Black Friday show. I love y'all. Catch y'all next Friday. Peace.